Welcome, everybody. Oh, isn't it nice to be back in the studio? Oh my goodness. So, I'm a Southern girl, and I lived in Nashville before I moved to Nashville, and we got snow all the time in Nashville, and it was great. And it would melt within a day or two, so it didn't linger really. And then, after moving to Nashville, it's like we're lucky if we get one. Usually it's more of an ice storm versus snow, as you know. So last week was incredible. I was like, yeah, it's snowing, yay, we get a break, yay, we get to slow down. Weather's gonna make us stay home. And it was really fun for like 2-3 days. And then it was like, oh my God. But I don't have 4-wheel drive, and I have a very hilly neighborhood that wasn't getting plowed, and I was stuck. And my boyfriend had 4-wheel drive, and he had to go to work, so I was at noon. The kids were with their other parents, and it was me and the dogs, and the freaking heat goes out.
Oh, no.
And it's a brand new home. And it happens literally every single year since 2020. And it's a brand new house. And it's like every time it snows or ice comes, the heat goes out. So we try to deal with it the best we can. Basically shoddy construction. They put the pipe of where like the drainage of the HVAC unit is like not insulated. It's not in a place that's insulated. It's on the other side of the brick, so you can't get to it. Anyway. So basically I'm telling you all this because 2 or 3 nights in a row, and I woke up, and like I said, I had a great attitude about it at first. But then 2 or 3 nights in a row, 3 o'clock in the morning, I woke up and just sat up. I think I scared Rob. I probably look like the Exorcist. Yeah. And I felt like I couldn't breathe. I felt like I was being suffocated, and started to have anxiety. I started to go into panic mode, and that is not like me. I don't get panic attacks. I don't have anxiety. I do too much yoga for that. Like, it's not a part of my life. And it freaked me out because I'm up in the middle of the night, I don't know what to do, I can't breathe, I feel like I'm being suffocated, and I'm like, ah. And then I start pacing the house, and I'm in the 3 same rooms that I've been pacing in like for 5 days. And I'm like, oh. So Friday, I finally got out of the house because their daughter came back, and she happened to have a 4-wheel drive, and I'm like, get me out of here. So anyway, I'm glad you're out of the house. I'm glad you're getting some fresh air. Hopefully the snow will start to melt soon. But I was reminded of something. Actually, I hadn't thought about the whole panic attack thing until Jen made a post. And she posted that, I guess she had opened up the studio for a couple days. And everyone coming in was saying how they were getting triggered, feeling like it was pandemic time again. And I hadn't thought about that until she posted it. And I was like, maybe that's it. Maybe I was getting triggered. And I didn't even know what the trigger was, other than the isolation. So I'm sharing that because you guys may have experienced that to some degree as well. And I want us to realize that trauma is a real thing. And that whole pandemic we went through was a collective trauma. And it may have been different things kind of poking at us to trigger us, to make us go into that state of anxiety or panic without even thinking, oh, this is because of the pandemic. No, it could have just come out of nowhere like it did with me in the middle of the night. And I'm like, what's happening, And The one thing I wasn't doing was my yoga. Because think about it, my house was cold. It's not fun to do cold yoga. Like, you can't really do cold yoga. Your body's too tense. And so all it took was a few days for me to kind of lose sight of it. And then right after Jenna made that post, I saw this other post by Thich Nhat Hanh, whoever runs his account, because he's departed now. But it was a quote saying, you know, the practice of mindfulness is to be able to return to your own Buddha nature. And it made me kind of sit back and go, oh, okay, this is kind of my own fault. Because even though I couldn't do my yoga, we can't really sit and meditate either when you're cold, because you're shivering and your shoulders are like this. So it wasn't like I could really do the practice, but it was a nice reminder when I saw that quote to remind myself the Buddha nature is within all of us. The ability to be still and to go into a state of calm is within all of us. That ability to become enlightened or to gain a new perspective or to see things differently is within all of us. So seeing that quote really helped switch something for me. And I wanted to kind of share that quote today. We're going to start on our backs with the shadow. So when you come down to your back, figure out what feels better with your legs. So sometimes when the legs are extended, it may or may not feel good to the lower back. So if that's the case, you might want to bend the knees and do a little scooping of the belly, a little tucking of the tailbone to see if it brings you some relief. Sometimes the legs being extended feels okay to the back, but we may feel even a slight bit better if we play around with the adjustment of the feet. So for some, having the feet more parallel gives a state of ease to the SI joints. For others, separating the feet and fanning them out provides more spaciousness and a little bit more relief. So every day we get to experiment, especially if we've had a break, especially after it's been this frigid. I love hearing you take command over the breath already. You've been trained to do so, right? As soon as we begin to center for the practice, we develop a deep breath. Sometimes just hearing someone else take a deep breath is that great reminder, yes, let's breathe. Do you remember that faithful song, Just Breathe? One of the co-writers for that song was a Kundalini yoga teacher. So even that yogic idea came into the mainstream through a song. On your next inhale, let's go ahead and bring that right knee towards us and take the strap and unroll it. And wrap it around the ball of the right foot and sail it stop. And so I just felt like because it's been cold, because most of us have had a break from the practice, this is a safe way to open up the hamstrings, especially if we're having any trouble with our backs. See if you can drive your left foot forward and push down through your left thigh bone, flexing out that left ankle. At the same time, I want you to think about pressing the acceleration pedal in your car with your right foot. So press your foot into the fabric and notice the difference. Notice how your hamstrings engage more. That's why they say, or maybe you've had from your own experience, if you ever strain a hamstring, it can be difficult to drive because the hamstrings are required to create that acceleration with the foot. Now let your shoulders just hang down to the mat, but your arms are extending up towards the foot without any intention to necessarily grab it.
All right, let's go into pot B. So take both ends of the strap into your right hand. Use your left hand to hold down your left hip. That way the pelvis stays stable, even though that leg's turning off to the right side of the room. Breathe fully and completely. Not sacrificing the inhale or exhale. Deliberate intention with both. Now notice the difference here when you accelerate that right foot. Notice how, especially when you're pressing through the mound of the big toe, how it ignites the inner thigh, that inner quad, those abductor muscles. On your next in-breath, reach that leg overhead, swap hands to hold the strap, bring up your right arm, roll into your twist. So you're sending that leg over and across, but allowing the foot to hover above the floor. Now, if you're feeling a lot already through the IT band, you may not want to accelerate the foot. However, if you do want to accelerate the stretch, you're going to push more into the pinky toe side of the foot. Notice how it affects this connective tissue. Even though that may be piping up some sensation, make sure that your belly's rising and falling as you breathe. And then inhale, lift the leg back up overhead. And as you exhale, bend the knee, remove the strap, set it to your left side, and slide your left foot towards you. Cross your right ankle over your left knee. Pick up your left foot, lace your hands behind your left thigh bone. And you're hugging in eye of the needle pose. Sometimes referred to as more of a half pigeon. And I'm going to give you guys a choice here. So if this is more ideal for you, please stay here. But if you want to do more of the supine pigeon, please pick up the backside of your head. And you can hand hold the foot and knee of the right leg, or you can hook the arms around for a cradle hold. That's another option. And sail the left leg forward and out, letting the foot hover, the toes point ahead, piercing the navel in towards the spine. Now this is just partial, right? We're still working the abdominals. So to truly go into a supine pigeon, lower your left foot and slowly send your head back down. And you may find that you have to loosen up your grip of the right leg in order to manage that. Morning, because it's been so frigid, because we've been more sedentary, your body may feel a lot tighter. Please honor where it's showing up so that you're not forcing things to do what they were doing 3 weeks ago, or however long ago it was. All right, gently release the right leg. Take a hold of your strap, bring your left knee towards you, wrap the strap around the ball of the foot, and then send it side. I know we're all familiar with this pose and what we're typically capable of doing, but please honor where you're at today. Shoulders relaxed, a light grip on the strap. Fire up your right leg. Breathing with intention. And then pedaling your left foot forward and up into the strap. And noticing that additional engagement. And feel free to leave it out if you already feel too sensitive with the first step. Take both ends into your left hand, use your right hand to hold down your right hip. Let's go into Padangusthasana B. Lowering that leg off to the left side. Making sure you're not lifting the right side of your seat off the floor. Instead, you're planting it down. Inhale, bring that leg overhead, swap handhold to the strap, free up your left arm, and then slowly carry it across your body, taking that spinal twist. And maybe accelerating more through the knife edge side of the foot, the pinky toe side. Inhale, let's bring the leg back up. Exhale, bend the knee, remove the strap, set the strap to the side, glide your right foot towards you, stack the ankle on top of the knee, pick up your right foot, thread your hands behind it. Checking in with this side, with this hip, with this experience, to see whether or not you want to just stay here as you are, or if you want to pick up your head, if you want to take a hold of the left leg, if your hands are the cradle hold, if you want to sail the right leg forward and out, hovering the foot. Maybe this is where you want to maintain your position, if you want to continue to work the abdominal muscles. But maybe you just want to fall into that hip stretch and become more passive, releasing the right foot in the back of your head. Loosen up the grip if you need to. The nice thing about muscle memory is when we've had a break from something, we can come back to it. The muscles can get reconditioned pretty quickly. The problem is we may get sore in the meantime. So, you know, if you're going to Whole Foods later to pick up some groceries, pick up one of those, you know, some kind of Epsom salts. Take a hot, warm Epsom salt bath if your muscles get sore after coming back to the practice. Plus, you'll be absorbing a lot of magnesium. Let's release the left leg. And let's briefly cup a hold of both knees, Apanasana when released, just long enough to roll to the right side, push down into the left hand and right. So we started off with a nice slow warm up. Now we get to move. So rock back and forth on the soles of your feet. Spreading out through your toes, bringing your hands to prayer position at your heart. Sun salutations. Let's open the arms upward and root the feet downward. Exhale, swan dive forward and down to Uttanasana. Inhale, lift and lengthen out. Look out with your eyes even. And then exhale, plant your palms. You're stepping into plank, immediately rocking forward and lowering down to that low push-up. And then inhale, open up the heart. I keep my knees on the floor for this, but you can always lift them up the American way. Curl the toes and roll back down dog. Press into your hands, especially the mound of the index fingers. Shoot your hips up, 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 and away. Breathing with depth and control. So the breath can take you back into that state of inner calm. In fact, you can affirm the affirmation for this pose. Calmness is beginning to radiate throughout every fiber of my being. Remember, we all have the Buddha nature within. Now on your in-breath, you can meditationally walk, you can take a giant step forward, or you can float the feet together, but we land halfway up the top of the mat. Exhale, tumble down, release your neck. Inhale, coming all the way up, arms flying overhead. And then exhale, bringing hands back home to the heart, the salutation seal. All right, second A, inhale, expand. Good, exhale, swan dive down. Inhale, pick yourself up halfway, elongate the vertebrae. And on your out breath, you're stepping back and lowering at the same time. And you can even bounce back to that one pose if you prefer. Inhale, back bend. Exhale, invert to downward facing dog. Enjoy the openness of the breath. Taking as much air in as possible, but also equally trying to send out as much air as possible for full replenishment. Inhale, bring the feet to the top of the mat, Ardha Uttanasana. And then exhale, forward fold. Inhale, spring all the way up. Urdhva Hastasana. And then exhale, Samasthiti. Good, one more A. Inhale. Exhale, fold. Inhale, halfway up. Exhale, take Chaturanga Dandasana. Inhale, lift up. Thankful that the sun is going to bring us more heat this week. And rolling back to downward facing dog. Calmness radiates throughout every fiber of my being. Inhale, move to the top of the mat, lifting halfway up. Exhale, fold back in. Inhale to the top. And exhale, salutation seal. All right, we're moving into V. So bend the knees, but then rock the thigh bones back. Good. Lift the arms up, separate your hands. Exhale, fold over straight legs. In and pop up. Out and step back and lower. Elbows squeeze to the side body to work those triceps. Inhale, open up the heart and chest. And exhale, rock and roll back, down dog. All right, inhale, we're going to step the right foot forward and up between the hands. We're going to offset and step the left foot down. We're bringing ourselves up, keeping that front knee lunging. And then the arms are going to fly up. The pinkies are going to roll in. We're spreading through the upper back, winging out the shoulder blades, pushing heavily through the back heel, stretching out those calf muscles, zipping up through the midriff, looking straight ahead, slight chin tuck. Exhale, hands down. Create the next vinyasa. Unless you want to skip it and do child's or meet us in down dog. That's always an option as well. Good, left foot steps forward. Back heel offsets and steps down. Find that alignment of the knee over the ankle, making sure that it's not caving in. And then take your arms up. Roll the pinkies in. Activate bandhas. And we talk about bandhas on occasion, but I just saw where Bharati is going to be doing a bandha workshop here. Highly encourage it. She's not only a yoga teacher, she's a physical therapist. So I'm sure she'll have great information to share. Exhale, hands down. Step it back. Lower. Inhale, lift. Exhale, invert. Calmness radiates within and without. Inhale, bring the feet to the top of the mat. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, Utkatasana, knees bend, arms lift. Exhale, hands to heart. All right, inhale, Utkatasana. Exhale, tip over straight legs. Inhale, look out. Exhale, step it back and drop it low. Inhale, build up. Exhale, rock and roll back. All right, we're gonna change it up this time with warrior two. So when you're ready, inhale, step the right foot forward. Now, instead of offsetting the back foot, you're just spinning down to the heel, helicopter the arms up, and at first have your palms face down. Lunge that right knee, really fan open through your thighs. Good. Now check with your back arm and make sure it's just as high as the front arm. Okay, now glance at your right arm as you turn your whole palm open. And as the upper arm rolls open, you're not going to change that bone structure. You're only going to spin your wrist down. And when you prohibit the whole upper arm rolling back as your palm goes, keep it open and then just spin your hand. Do you see the difference? Show you from the side. Here, palm down. Notice how that opens. So instead of going this again, you're keeping this open and just turning the wrist. That's going to make you work your biceps more. Do you feel it? It's subtle, but it's there. All right, exhale, helicopter the hands down, step back, plank. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, up dog. Exhale, down dog. And we'll focus on warrior two again. But this time, let's bring that left foot through. Lower the back heel. Circle the arms up. And the reason why we want to check in with the back arm is because our gaze is forward. And lots of times with gravity or lack of awareness, the back arm drops. So gaze towards the back arm, make sure it's just as high. Now gaze towards your left arm and notice the bones rolling open with your palm spinning. Now keep that openness of the arm, the elbow even facing up as you just spin the wrist back down. It's a subtle thing. And then I noticed when I was so concentrated on my hands, I totally lost my Uddiyana Bandha, my belly lock. So that's what happens, right? We're really only meant to focus on one thing at a time, but we're trying to multitask and do it all in the same pose. All right, exhale, hands down. Vinyasa. Beautiful. Inhale, let's bring the feet to the top of the mat. Lift up halfway on the right one. Exhale, let go. Inhale, Utkatasana, chair pose. Exhale, hands to heart. All right, we have one more sun out. All right, inhale, Utkatasana. Exhale, tip forward. Inhale, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, Chaturanga Dandasana. Inhale, long neck, spread your collarbones. Exhale, down dog. All right, the right foot's gonna step forward. The left foot's gonna offset. We bring the arms up. Lean the head back. Bring the hands together. Now, if that doesn't work well for your shoulders or neck, don't do it, leave it out. Just separate your hands, chin parallel to the floor, just do it the regular way. All right, that way it's not forced. From the exalted warrior, bring your hands to your heart. Straighten the right leg, turn the foot in, turn your left foot towards the back of the mat, offset your right foot. That way you can square your hips. So hop this foot over a little bit more. Yeah, there, that's it. Now, take the arms back up, maybe palms together, gaze towards your hands. Yep. Good. From exalted form of warrior, we're going to take it into warrior 2. So do it slowly. So first, just separate your hands and start to open up to the side wall. Don't you feel the block of this back leg? Because we're in a position for warrior 1. I'm glad you felt it in your body. So now that we've splayed the arms, heel toe the right foot back a bit. Have it more parallel to the short edge side. Turn your palms open. And then turn your wrist back down. Got it. Good. Inhale, straighten the left leg. Exhale, turn that left foot in. Rotate the right foot out. Lunge the right knee. Virabhadrasana 2. Good. Flip your hands open. So you're really rolling your arms open. And then just turn your hands back down. Isolate that one area. Good. And the bandhas here, root lock, pulling up to the pelvic floor, belly lock, drawing up to the navel, Yalahara Bandha, which is a slight chin tuck. Not tuck like this, a slight inward tuck of the chin, which you can learn about more in that workshop. Exhale, helicopter the hands to the floor. Last vinyasa here. So hopefully your body's feeling less stiff, a little bit more pliable, more warmed up. More mine is a lot. Inhale, feet to the top of the mat. Lift halfway up. Exhale, roll down. Inhale, bent knees, lift up, Utkatasana. Exhale, hands to heart. All right, close our eyes. Salutations to the sun, to the awakening light within us all, and to the dawning of a higher state of consciousness and all sentient beings. Yes, relax your hands. Those of you on this side are going to face the midsection of the room. You guys are going to step so you're facing the midsection of the room, and you won't be mirroring each other. So the feet are going to go wide apart. And the hands are going to come to the hips. The shoulders are going to roll back, and you're going to give a little chest bump here. When you give that little chest bump, you're going to fold at least halfway down, and you're going to gaze directly below your face. Notice if your weight's going into your heels. If so, tip forward towards your toes. All right, notice if your elbows are still lifted or starting to flop downward, and try to keep them lifting upward. And continue to descend, keeping your shoulder blades cinching in towards your spine, keeping your feet firmly gripping the mat. Long, slow, deep breaths. This is the B variation of this pose. And then we're going to go into the D version. So push down through your feet, lift halfway up. Separate your arms wide apart and then take the peace mudra around each big toe. Then bend your elbows and fan them away from your knees. And notice how that changes up your chest. How it opens up the pits of the arms. And that will help with a deeper breath as well. Nice. Take your hands up to your hips, pressurize the feet, lift through your kneecaps, and slowly come up to stand. All right, when you come up to stand, you're going to turn your right foot 90 degrees. Again, you won't mirror each other. Arms are going to lift shoulder heights. Now, think about pushing back into your left hip as you stretch out over the right leg. And then windmill that hand to the shin and let the left arm reach overhead. Triangle pose. All right, inhale, come up. Bring the right arm with. Lunge the right knee. And come down to this variation of side angle. What also in some lunges is called triangle, which I don't understand, but inhale, come up. Exhale, push back into your hips. So you really use your hips there. Exhale, windmill down. So every now and again, even though I've been on this path now for 24 years, I see and hear my very first teacher I ever had correcting me in this pose. Because I wasn't using my hips at all. And she was like, honey, do you know where your hips are? And I'm like, what's wrong with you? I don't have hips. She was like, everybody's hips. And it was this whole conversation we had laughing about hips. And I didn't think I had any. Inhale, come up. All right, exhale, lunge that knee. You're coming back in. Good, inhale, draw up. Exhale, relax your arms, turn your right foot in. Turn your left foot out. So if you don't mind, look at me for just a minute. I don't know what I was doing because that was 24 years ago. But I have a feeling I lifted my arms and just went right into it. Right? Without thinking, drive the hips too. Right? So make sure you're driving the hips. Arms up. Drive the hips back. Lengthen out over the left leg. Good. Now bring it down. Inhale, come up. Good. Exhale, lunge the left knee. Take this other variation, what I call side angle, what some lineages call triangle. It's just a name anyway. We get caught up in names. I remember it threw me in India because they kept calling down dog mountain pose. I'm like, well, it makes sense. It's the shape of the mountain. It works. And they should know they created it. Inhale, come up. Exhale, triangle. Not they as in the teachers, but they as in the culture. You know what I mean. Inhale, come up. Exhale, lunge the knee. One last one here. Good, inhale, come up. Whew. It's hard to hold, doesn't it? Relax your arms. Turn your left foot in. And then step one foot over. Doesn't matter where. Arm either way. And then turn to face the front. All right, so if by chance you thought to bring blocks to your mat, I would have them at the top of your mat in case you need them for the next one. And I usually use blocks that I'm going to try without today. So stack your feet side by side. And then left foot's going to step back. Not terribly far, but enough. And then take your hands to your hips and square them up. And I would create just a little bit more separation between your feet. Maybe one more, yes. And my only correction for you is, you notice how this hip is clocking back a little bit. It's because of where your foot is. So instead of having the foot turned out, step it where your toes are just slightly turning in. Yes. Now your hip, right? Yes. How's everybody on the back row? Perfect. Okay, cool. Brian, maybe a little bit more separation between the feet. Okay. We're here. Now, crisscross your arms behind your back and lace your right arm below your left. And I know you may not be able to do this. I had a guy yesterday that literally could only do this, and that's fine. Hold the other hand, okay? So whichever one you're doing, lift your breastbone, lean back a bit. And then as you exhale, you're going to be really mindful about slightly turning your left shoulder, your left rib cage, and your navel over towards the right knee. And you're pushing down through the feet, and you're slowly inching down. Neutralize your neck, look towards your right foot. And notice when you get that little bit of a twist in your upper body, and you're overdoing it. You're a good listener. This is great. Now, did you notice how that evened out the shoulders? That's really my point with creating that little correction or adjustment. All right, one more deep breath. Shine your heart forward, 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 and then let your arms spill. Now, if your hands touch the floor, that's fine. You may still feel the need to have blocks. So grab your blocks, set them up on a tall height if you're going to use them, and place the blocks underneath where your shoulders are. So it's like bone stacking. So it's like an extension of your arm. There you go. Now, with your spine extended, your arms extended, take the right hand, free it up, and you're going to spin it up towards the ceiling. At the same time, you're driving your right hip towards the back wall. Oh, that's beautiful. Beautiful. Now, I'm just going to see if I can let you let go just a little bit with your arm. Okay, is that better? Okay. No, oh yeah, you're good. I'm just trying to drive the foot forward and create space for my legs. Yeah, good. Yeah, you may lose it. Okay, it's okay. I get that. When I have teachers adjust me sometimes, I do the same thing. I'm like, I can't hold it. Now, if that's creating any strain, you can just set your head in. And why don't we just focus on turning the torso? Just lay the arm out. Good, when you're ready. I know that's tough. Exhale, bring the hand down. You're probably like, what adjustment? You don't really adjust that much. Come on up. Left foot forward. Right foot back. And then again, if you turned your toes out, that's going to take your hip back. And we actually need the back toes to be facing somewhat forward to have the hips more square. And then, see how that foot's turning towards her? Yeah, offset it and turn it this way, like in, toes in, toes in. There you go. And now notice, whoop, see? And if we don't have the right foot placement, it'll has a possibility of torquing the knee, and we don't want that. Yeah, so once the hips are square, you're safe. Take your arms behind your back and now take your left arm below, or again, just cup the other hand. No problem. But uplift your breastbone, arch back just a teeny little bit. Doesn't have to be dramatic. Good. Exhale, plug those feet down. Stretch out, stretch out, stretch out as you fold. Beautiful, Shelly. Good. Nice, nice, nice. And Michelle, I think you're doing this visually, because I could see it in your leg. So you have a real soft bend in the knee, but I can tell you're really working this foot because I can see the back of your leg shivering a little bit. And that's what you want. I mean, you don't necessarily want all the shaking, but you do want that softness there so you're not hyperextending the knee. Good. On your next out breath, just send the fingertips down or hands to blocks. And then lengthen up and away from the left leg. That way, when your spine's elongated, it's gonna be safer to move into the twist. That's not that it's, yes, it's safer, but really it's about, I say this a lot, but it's true. After the age of 30, we don't get proper lubrication in the spinal disc. And this is one way to do it. This is one way to manipulate it. Get it nice and juicy again, supple. Now, I'm going to suggest for you. Good, exhale, bring that hand down. And then let's come up, bring the hands, lunge the front knee, step through. All right, now we get to balance. And I will warn you guys, the closer you are to the lightly painted wall, it gets a little fuzzy. It messes with me. So every time I do it, I'm like, oh my God, I have to turn away. So I don't know about the distance for you, but if you find that that's the case, that wall does not have the same effect. Neither does the windows. Just, you know, from experience. Bend the knees, shift your hips back. Hands to prayer. You're going to lift your right ankle and rest it on top of your left knee. And if you're near a wall or furniture, you can always use a hand or hands, depending on where you're facing the wall or using it. Okay, sit down in a little deeper. If it's all you can do, please stay here. Otherwise, left hand to the waist, right piece mudra around the right big toe. You're lifting the right knee as you straighten out your left leg. Once you're balancing here, you can try your hand at extending the right leg forward and out. The standing form of Padangusthasana A. If you're starting to compromise the pose by tucking the tailbone, drive your left thigh back. And release. Ooh, okay. Bend the knees. Sit back. So I went to a class a couple years ago, and it was a super fast class. And I usually don't try to keep up, but it was 6 o'clock in the morning, and I was trying to keep up, and I hurt my knee. And now it's creeping back in. So sorry, you guys. I'm feeling it. So I may or may not be able to do this next maneuver. Shows back up when you quit practicing, doesn't it? And left ankle over the right knee. Hands to prayer. Take your time. Set your drishti. Mostly focus. Right hand to waist, peace mudra around the left big toe. You're bringing the left knee up with the foot as you straighten your right leg. And maybe this is all you can manage. But if you can straighten it out to Pada A. And release. Bring it back down to the floor. Hands to prayer. Stand at the top of your mat. Is that your yay? Inhale, down dog. Exhale, come down to your knees. Swish your feet to one side, your hips off to the other side, and then your legs out in front. Right knee bends, open the hip. If you need extra padding support, you can add it below spine. Lift your arms overhead. Exhale, forward fold.
Now, remember when we were going through the slower instruction for pyramid with the arms behind the back? And so the same kind of thing applies here. If we just fold, look how the shoulders are caught. Like one's hiking up more than the other. My belly's way over here. And so we want to think about pulling the navel in and taking the right shoulder, rib cage, navel towards the left knee. And that will even out the shoulders. Cup up underneath that right calf and hook it over the straight leg. Lean to your left hip and set your hands there so that you can slide your left foot in and then push away through the hands to come up. It's just a different way to get into it. It may not work. Your body may not want to contort to this, and that's okay. Bring the foot around in front of you if that's the case. All right, so from here, inhale, lift up energetically, exhale, hinge, down over your lap. Become that calm, quiet witness within, underneath and behind the thoughts, underneath and behind any sensation. Inhale, bring it up. Left arm's gonna reach high. Then the hand's gonna turn to face the back of the room and you're gonna bend the arm. You're gonna take your free hand, tuck it in a little closer. Take your right hand, take it to the sacrum, and maybe wiggle or walk it upstream. And sometimes we get into all weird kind of positions with the upper body with that. So if you find that you are, recreate some equanimity in your side waist. Elongate the vertebrae because it's not about the hands actually touching. Right? We're just trying to create form and create a nice opening and stretch for the shoulders. Release. And then roll the arms. Take your right leg out. And hopefully your left foot is just kind of already there, existing for Jani Shasana. Arms reach overhead, that foot flexes in front. And as you exhale, remember to kind of dial your heart over towards the right knee this time. I tried to instruct it different ways, different times, because there's always going to be something that resonates more, or you might receive something differently than another position or instruction. Inhale, coming up. Move up underneath that calf, send it to half shoelace. But instead of staying in half shoelace, we're going to try to go for full shoelace. So lean over towards your right hip, slide your right foot in, and then push away from the hands. That may or may not create the position, but if it does, great. If not, do your best. Lift up energetically, exhale, forward fold. So it doesn't matter how the legs are going to be crossed here, you're still going to get to the hips. And that's the intention. Then inhale, let's bring it up. And let's take the right arm skyward, spin that palm, pat the upper back, But then it may also flop, so that free hand can help to drive it up more. And then see if it can go behind your back. And I have a lot less trouble on this side. I don't have to contort and get all weird to try to get the hand any higher. And you may find one side is more accessible for you as well. So we're trying to free up the shoulders, we're trying to free up the heart chakra, and the heart chakra is the element of air, it includes the lungs. So it's about freeing up the breath too. Exhale, release. Uncross. Do we want to invert today or just end with the twist? How are you feeling? Do you want a headstand or do you want twist?
Sure.
Okay, active or supine?
Supine.
I was gonna have to do something all fancy. But I don't know if I'm feeling the fancy either. Oh, that's why I love blissful flow. You can add it or not. All right, let's open up the arms and let the knees roll left.
And close your eyes here. Dim the lights.
Good, inhale, roll the knees to the middle and send them over to the other side. All right, if you want props for your Shavasana, you can turn over to your right side to sit up to grab what you need. And if you'd rather just go into corpse pose, just roll back. I would suggest tucking the knees in after that twist before you sprawl out. This helps to reset the back a little bit. Create any position of your liking. Settling in. And so the Hatha Yoga practice is about movement. It's about the physical body. We're laying that to rest. Now we get to focus more on the mental side of things. And hopefully feel a little bit more clear and a little bit more calm and peaceful, a little bit more like that Buddha nature. And it may have taken this whole hour of mindfulness to get to this point. And you may still need these next few minutes to reach or to arrive at that point.
Om. 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 Slowly begin to deepen the flow of our breath. Begin to awaken a little movement in the extremities of the body. Perhaps you want to stretch out and then roll in. Before stationing yourself in a comfortable seat. I want you to sit with your eyes closed, your hands resting downward. Stay in the inner observance. Yourself, your mind, your breath. Join your hands to prayer. Bow your head. Light in you honors and bows to beautiful light. There's something I want you to think about with that quote, something that made me think, well, is, you know, the story of Prince and Martha, you know, who had all the riches and the wealth and the palace and was very secluded from the outside world. When he finally left the palace walls and started to walk through the village, he was seeing sickness and death and, you know, things he hadn't been exposed to. And it troubled him. And he left everything behind and he moved and shifted around and then eventually he went to sit underneath the foliage. He became enlightened and he gained such understanding and wisdom through sitting, doing absolutely nothing other than being in the question and being in focus. So last week was a true testament to, oh my God, I got a lot of work to do. Because I felt like I wasted time. I felt like I wasn't being productive. And then seeing that quote reminded me, why do I have to be productive? Why am I looking at this as a waste of time? Right?
That's so hard to do.
It's so hard. But I'm so glad. Oh, have a beautiful rest of your day.
Yeah. That's one of those, that thing is, I was bored of it, so I think that on Wednesday.